Well, I'm headed out for a hike in the woods. We had some crazy weather in the last 24 hours. Had about a foot of snow and then freezing rain, and then it rained today. So I was hoping for a really nice snowshoe in the woods. I've got on my snowshoes there from Kirk north of 51. They're great, but I probably shouldn't walk in the, I don't really want to walk in the trails where people are doing their cross-country skiing. Trust me, on the trails where there are cross-country skiers, you do not want to go on those paths. They get pretty upset with you. Of course, I understand. You don't want to wreck their nice track they've worked so hard on after a night's snowfall. But I thought I'd take you out today and we're going to do a little bit of a cook-up here in the woods. I've got some fresh moose meat from my friend Joe, so let's go have some food. Well, if this isn't nature's artwork, I don't know what is. Take a look at the insect damage on this tree. Wow, it's amazing. The bark's all peeled off and you can see where the insects have sort of chewed these little pathways in the tree bark. Isn't that amazing? The kind of snow I'm working through now is about a foot deep with that crust of ice on it. It's kind of a pain to walk through. I was really hoping we'd have some of that powder left over from last night's storm. We've had temperatures in the minus 30s, minus 40s, but it's really warmed up. Like right now, it's probably 2 degrees or something like that. So very odd. Everything's kind of melting. It's unbelievable the amount of temperature swings we have to deal with here in Canada. So I'm just climbing over these huge logs here, and you got to be careful. Just in front of me, you know, I'm kind of climbing over the 2 logs. But if you look back over here, there's a huge drop. There's actually a gap between the trees. So if you were to, you know, go through the woods and there's that snow here, boom, you could pop right down in there and possibly break a leg. So I'm going to have to be really careful crossing at this spot. I'm going to do my cook-up kind of over there behind those little hills. Take a look over here. These little spiky things that are sticking out of the snow, that's horsetail. I don't know if I've ever seen it in the wintertime or actively looked for it. Comes up in the spring with these very odd little conical shaped heads on them, and then it spreads out and looks like little bits of bamboo sticking out of the ground. It is a wild medicinal as well. So when you're doing some foraging, you can take a look for horsetail. Oh, I think this is actually like a little creek or something. It's quite possible. Just be careful. I'll kind of stay on the edge. Could also just be an old trail, but it's always a possibility I could be walking across a frozen over water body with lots of snow on it. So I'm sitting right now in just a sheltered area away from all the wind. It's nice and peaceful. I can hear the ravens kind of crowing above me. So I'm just getting set up here. I'm going to show you what I have to make today. So it's going to be a cast iron cooking day. Months ago, Wallace Vivian tagged me in a video to do a cast iron cook. So I apologize for the delay. I just haven't had time to get out and do one, and now's the perfect time. So I want to stir fry some moose meat, and we've got some moose meat here in this little plastic bag here. And of course, for the stir fry, I've got some veggies and onions. And I've got some mushrooms from last foraging season. So these ones are Lactarius thynos. They're an orange mushroom, and when you crack the cap, they release an orange latex. So it should be pretty good. Let's get started. So I'm not really in an area where I can make a fire today. So what I'm going to do is use my little gas stove. It's one I picked up after the holiday sales, so I want to try it out today. Since this spot I'm not allowed to have an open fire. So I've got my cast iron pan. I'm going to put a little bit of butter in it. And, oh wait, one really cool thing I forgot to tell you guys was I'm making bannock as well. So I've made these little itty bannocks to make in the frying pan. So I think I'm going to put some butter in the pan, get the bannock started first, and then I'm going to stir fry the moose meat and the veggies. This is pretty easy. Just sort of turn on this little valve here. There you go. Fire up pretty good. A little bit worried this will balance. Well, it balances pretty well for a small stove. Not bad. So I brought some oil with me, but let's be honest, I had a little bit of an epic disaster in my backpack with the oil. So I'm just stuck with the butter for now, but that'll have to do. Ooh, it's getting a little bit hot. I'm just going to turn this down a little bit. Obviously without turning it out. Alright, let's get a bannock on there. Kind of pre-form these at home. Oh yeah. It's looking good. I really got to babysit this because it gets so hot that it wants to burn and just cook the outside. So I want all of it cooked, so I just got to keep babysitting it. It's a beautiful day in the woods today. Fairly quiet, a few little woodpeckers and stuff, and like I said, ravens. See some signs of probably like coyote and stuff. But not a lot going on after that storm. Everything was really hunkered down. Alright, so the bannock looks done, so I'm just going to put it aside and we'll get on with the moose stir fry. Alright, so I've just melted a little bit more butter here on my little stove here, and we'll get the moose started. Oh yeah. I wish you guys could smell this. Smells awesome. So I'm just going to brown it here for a little bit and pay special attention to it. I don't want to burn it or anything, but putting a little bit of water in there makes a bit of a broth with the butter, so it's going to be pretty tasty. I'm going to put a little salt and pepper in now. Just a little bit. Don't want to overdo it. Just like a pinch or so. All right, time for the veggies. Of course, that'll add a bit of moisture in there as well. So I've got basically onions and 2 different kinds of peppers. Don't do too much. I brought quite a bit. So now I'll just let that fry in with the beef. And of course, last but not least, will be my mushrooms. Now, these mushrooms have actually already been processed. They were processed in the summer and the fall. I don't know when these ones were processed, but basically I pan fry them till they're cooked in butter and garlic, and then I freeze them. So I can use them any time of the year. So really important, harvest enough to get you through to next season. So do your preparation right when you get them. It's best to prepare them when they're fresh, and then you'll have them all year if you store them properly. Of course I can't forget the tea, so I've got my little Stanley cup set here, and I'm just going to boil a little bit of tea. Well, there she is, all done. So here's my bannock and the stir fry. Just waiting for my tea to finish up. Let's dig in. Alright, didn't bring a plate because who needs it? Let's eat right out of the cast iron skillet. It's so good. It's really tender, flavorful, low-fat meat. A wild meat. It's very good. You know, some of you know from my some of my YouTube story posts that one of my resolutions this year is to eat more wild food, and certainly this is a good step in the right direction. So I definitely want to be doing more foraging this year, really getting my stock of wild foods and medicinals up in my stocks, and then you know, and here I am this year already having moose meat and my preserved mushrooms, and of course I made some wild soda a few weeks ago, so I'm right on track for my resolution this year. I want to eat a little bit healthier, a little bit more local, and definitely tapping into my grocery store in the woods. So let's try one of these mushrooms. Perfect. Just how I remembered them. Nice crunch to the Lactarius thynos. They're one of my favorites to eat. They're more commonly found in cedar swamps and things like that, in low-lying areas. So, very good. Good to last drop. Let's check on the old tea here. Oh, that's ready too. Perfect. Let's pour a cup of tea. Whoa. Oops. It's been that kind of day, you know what I mean? Dump the oil, dump the tea bag. You know how it is. Well, cheers, Joel. Thanks so much for the moose meat. It was incredibly flavorful, and certainly you're helping me fulfill my New Year's resolution of eating more wild food in my diet. And thanks so much to Wallace for the tag to do the cast iron cooking. It was really fun. So So let me know for 2019 if you have plans to eat more on the wild side, whether it be hunted game, fish, or things that you forage. So let me know down below in the comments, and I hope you guys have a great week as always. Take care.